Welcome to the LawyerFair.co.uk daily podcast. LawyerFair helps businesses find the right lawyer at the fairest price. But on this podcast, we just chew the fat with some great guests.
On top of your game, feeling a little bit ill, and you end up standing on a platform at Stratford for 2 hours and eventually end up catching a bus home when I paid for a train ticket. So very annoying, but it always happens when you're not feeling very well.
Well, it always does. Listen, I think Polly will have faded us in on this recording by now, Simon. So we probably are now live and recording. Polly wishes that she could fade me in and out in real life, by the way, but she can only do it on the podcast. But listen, we're joined today on the LawyerFair Daily podcast by Simon Mead, and we're joined in more ways than one, actually, because alongside an already stellar CV, overlooking his allegiance to the Hammers, Simon is actually joining us has joined us as commercial director.
Be careful about how this interview goes.
Simon is, you've interrupted my flow now, Simon, but he's not only joining us today, he is joining us as our commercial director of LawyerFair. Simon, welcome on all levels.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to be involved. It's just the kind of business I've been looking for a long, long time.
Well, it's great. It's great to have you involved in the team, and we've already had some great sessions, and we're moving at great pace thanks to some of your immediate interventions. I mean, just as a little background, I mean, the work you did obviously with E-Trade as well it was a similar kind of transition, wasn't it, of a particular sector into an online product.
Yeah, it was. I mean, E-Trade, for those who don't know, was that we were the sort of first or second player into the market for online stock trading. And it was, it sounds daft when you talk about it now, but it was kind of a Web 1 world of around about 97, 98. And at the time, it really was rocket science. Bearing in mind, we started the company in a room no bigger than the office I'm talking to you from now, with 9 very sweaty programmers and 2 secure servers. But we were right at the forefront of technology, and it was an interesting time because we, as we're trying to do with LawyerFair, and I'm not a big fan of the word disruptive, but we were trying to change the market, and we were trying to change the way that people traded stocks, and very much the way it can be seen now with the law firms. It was a very closed market. We started from the premise that actually, in those days, the only places you could get share prices from were from your broker. You could get them off Teletext and Prestel, if you remember those. I do. 20-minute delayed data, or you could get them from your bank, and that was kind of it. And so the first stage that we introduced was to bring real-time share pricing to the internet, which we were absolute pioneers of doing. And then as the appetite for that grew, the next logical step was to become an online stockbroking business. And, I know, Andrew, we've talked about this before. We took this idea of us becoming an online broker round to probably 60 UK stockbrokers, and not one of them wanted to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny enough. I was just reflecting as well that in my childhood down in Cornwall, my dad used to be an inveterate investor, and he used to have the CFAX on all the time, and he got terribly frustrated when he couldn't get through immediately because he could see the price changing too late. So now I have some personal experience of the pre-E-Trade era.
And there are parallels as well, because what we were trying to do with E-Trade was to create a service that delivered a little bit more information to the consumer, but also gave them a fair price point. And I think one of the things that attracts me with LawyerFair is one, we're trying to change a market, which is always a difficult thing to do, but it's always an incredibly fun thing to do. But we're also, it's all about trying to bring value to the SME business, to that new startup. Things that when you're running a business, these are incredible costs that you have to incur, and so often people don't look around, they don't shop around, and so what we're bringing is the ability to do that, and I just love that as a concept.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been it's always great when you start something up, which we did, whatever, 18, 24 months, to get certainly someone talented like you who kind of sees the vision and shares it. And I mean, certainly the market feedback we know. We were even talking to General Counsel this week, Simon, as you know, about their interest in not so much shopping around, but just trying to have a slightly more competitive and transparent process, which clearly you've been involved with before with E-Trade, and we are doing with LawyerFair. And so, just in terms of your kind of background, Simon, because you're a man ensconced in the east of England. We were having a debate with someone yesterday about what is defined as the east of England.
Yes.
And bizarrely, the organisation they work with defined Stevenage and Luton, fine areas of the UK, but
See, to me, they're the Midlands to me. I don't like to come over that far. Yes, I have. I mean, partly because I've always lived in this part of the world, but since we did E-Trade was a Cambridge-based business, and
we've lost you, Simon.
drifted
Simon,
further over towards the coast.
Simon, we lost you a bit there. I'm sorry. This is the problem with Skype recording. We did lose a little bit there. So I'm really saying this more for the listener that you cut out a little bit. But sorry, go
on. I think I am kind of ensconced in the east of England, but that's more to do where I've ended up kind of working, and you get to understand the environment. But that's also been an advantage in that it's really helped me to understand problems that small businesses face, all right, in a relatively tight geographical area. But actually those problems are, are common to everyone that you speak to. And, one of my great passions has always been about helping people who are starting up businesses and do want to get to that accelerator stage. So my post E-Trade life has been in investing in technology companies and running technology companies, usually from startup through to that kind of second, third round of fundraising, or to taking a company to the point of sale. But the altruistic part of me, I guess, has also come out in that I've run development agencies, business development agencies, particularly over this way, that's brought together mentors, funders, financiers, people starting up businesses, and education establishments like the universities that we have over here. And I find that tremendously rewarding.
Again, we've discussed this offline, but it's fascinating how much support there is nowadays. I mean, the old days of just having Business Link, for example, which was, Business Link was pretty much it, or maybe your local Chamber of Commerce, with, some people have mixed views about the effectiveness of those. But things like the Eastern Enterprise Hub, which I know you had a lot of involvement with, that's just one example of a, fantastic resource that's available to the modern entrepreneur.
Absolutely, and the Enterprise Hub was set up. The great thing about the Enterprise Hub, it was set up by business people who wanted to help other people start businesses. It was a completely private initiative. And some funding came in from local councils, but it was an initiative totally driven by a group of about 150 business people. So they all, the most valuable thing I think you can have when you're starting a business is a mentor. Somebody who has been there and done it and can help you through these things. The hub brought those people together with people that want to start businesses up, and we built programs around helping people understand the legal aspects of a business, the accounting side, sales side, marketing, which is kind of my passion. And you're giving them a platform and just that confidence, really, to say, you can do this, and there's lots of support out there. There are people out there. And to a large extent, those things have replaced what people like Business Link used to do. Although, interestingly, the LEPs, the local enterprise partnerships, have been slowly introducing services that are incredibly similar to Business Link.
That's interesting. And those,
it's all creeping back in, but creeping in a good way.
Yeah, no, I mean, the support network is fantastic. I mean, I assume it's because you're so well plugged into that area, Suffolk, Essex, etc. But we have had a surge of interest into LawyerFair, Simon. So I am travelling out to Colchester and Ipswich more often than perhaps I've ever done in my life in the last few weeks. Well, apart from the train journey of 6 hours, which you were explaining at the front end of this podcast once, and it dovetails nicely into to, I know, an area that that LawyerFair is looking to work in, and this is the integration or the collaboration between universities and commercial enterprises, of which I know that Essex are particularly at the forefront. So again, just a little bit more explanation about what's happening with there.
Yeah,
the opportunity.
I think the best way to frame it is if I were starting up a business, the first place I think I would look would be to a university campus. It's probably not the first place most people look, but my logic behind it is that the way that universities are funded has changed, and this does matter. I mean, and it has been a political change where, in the old days, the government would say to universities, "Here is, £15 million that you can spend on research," and now they don't do that anymore. What they do now is they make research grants available to business. So the universities have to go out and they have to engage with SMEs, businesses and technology businesses in order to access funding that makes up this big gap that they're missing, that's been taken away from them. So all universities now are falling over themselves to engage with local businesses. And their favourite things are startups. They're all building technology parks on the space that they have. And most universities have quite a lot of space, certainly the edge of town ones. And so it's absolutely in the university's interest to bring a company on site, provide them with some pretty cheap rent and facilities, but as a smart company coming into that kind of environment, you can then begin to access all sorts of different funding streams. You can, excuse me, that's too much stone on Stratford Station. You can access a very intelligent mobile workforce, that's happy to work hours here and there because they're fitting them in around their studies. And you can attract people into your business who have an active interest in what it is that you're trying to do. To me, actually, it's a bit of a no-brainer. They are at the forefront of innovation centres.
No, absolutely. I mean, Essex is a great example because you've got the business school, obviously allied to the business school. Simon, you're doing a magnificent job, despite the fact you're suffering from man flu over there.
I'm very sorry.
A combination of you suffering from man flu and a slightly intermittent connection means I'm going to wrap this up fairly quickly. However, I did want to include the Blue Abyss.
Oh, yeah, Blue Abyss. It's
Blue Abyss.
an incredible project that I've been involved in. So Essex University, the Blue Abyss company have this is an absolute example of an entrepreneur with vision and drive that is pushing something through against all of the odds. You've got this guy called John Vickers, and he came up with this concept for creating the world's largest swimming pool. And the idea is to attract, so these are the types of things that you see in Armageddon, if you've seen that film where you've got NASA working underwater, training astronauts and things like this. It's exactly that concept. But if you think NASA's pool is 25 metres deep, the one that is being proposed at Blue Abyss is 50 metres deep, and it will be the largest pool ever created. And it's a £50 million project. We're in the middle of raising the funds for it. We're doing the business planning for it, and we're developing a research concept around it. So it's a big ticket item for the UK. An amazing facility once we manage to get the thing built.
It's going to astonish you. That's 50 metres deep. That's extraordinary.
It is absolutely extraordinary.
Well, Simon, I'm going to leave you. I'm actually going to call medical assistance, I think.
Andrew, I'm so sorry. I'm coughing away, and I shouldn't be at all.
Don't worry.
To edit some stuff out, but,
Polly doesn't allow us to edit anything else. She thinks natural is good.
Real time, but these to kind of sum it up, and I'm back in the land of living again. The development at the university is just an incredible thing to try and do. But it's all about encouraging entrepreneurs. Again, it's about encouraging businesses that can be associated with that, and it's about businesses that cut, deep into something I care about, which is about changing the world and changing the way people do things.
Yep.
You know, and that I'm bringing it back. That's the thing that really appeals to me about LawyerFair.
Yeah.
You know, it's looking at a different way of doing something.
Well, listen, I apologise to those listening because we have lost a few little moments with what Simon was saying there, but generally it's been fantastic. I'm just going to actually finish off by returning you to the beginning of this conversation, Simon. You mentioned that E-Trade started with you and 9 sweaty programmers
Yes,
in a
yeah.
room. Our Christmas party is next week. You may well be sharing a small room with a number of sweaty programmers there too. So you're obviously well versed in it.
Excellent. Well, given the cold I've got right now, I won't be able to smell anything anyway, so I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine.
Simon, thank you for joining us on all levels, and very much looking forward to working with the Lawyer Fair. That was the Daily Podcast. There'll be more tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the lawyerfair.co.uk Daily Podcast. If you'd like to listen to more, why not subscribe and download each episode via iTunes, or visit us on the lawyerfair.co.uk website.